Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Tamara. We're here today to review another book, and a book that I am pleasantly surprised with in many ways, many ways. Oh, craziness to me. That book is The Bonds of Hercules. Now this book is new. This is the sequel to The Blood of Hercules, and I think it came out like a week or two ago. My thoughts on the first book wasn't great. It wasn't great. I was incredibly hopeful for the second book to have some redemption factor for me, and it absolutely did. I feel like this book was better than I even expected it to be. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5, and we're going to talk about as to why, because I'm telling you, if you watched my first video, I wasn't very impressed by this at all. So this is just so shocking to me. But before we get into it, one thing I do want to note is that this is a spoiler talk video. If you care about being spoiled, then step aside, come back. If you don't care, then let's go into it. These books are beautiful. Let's just get that out of the way. Like the first book, stunning. This book, the attention to detail with the gold foiling, the pages, even the inside, you have like a full-on visual of Alexis and Chiron in this, and I'm just saying the details are immaculate. And that was not saying that was an additional like why I gave it a 4, but every detail is pretty nice. It helps. One other thing they added that was different just in terms of this book from the first is at the beginning they give you like a family tree of all the houses so you don't get confused. But this time they gave you an actual stats page. So a stat page of every male lead that we're actually going to be more introduced to, let's say. It gives you literally their weight and their height and everything. It's very interesting. And then that showed me that they're going to spend a lot of time and attention on these people, which is exactly what I wanted to see. Because in the first book, they teased characters like Augustus, Chiron, Achilles. They teased them because they were saying that, oh, let's just introduce these characters and give them absolutely no context or screen time just to make the viewer, aka me, a little frustrated. And that's exactly what happened to me in the first one. So in this book, they give them the time of day. They explain, they differentiate between these men that we got exposed to loosely in the first book, and they really exploit them in the second, where you finally get to understand what makes them tick, why are they different. And in addition to this is a reverse harem, and I've never been a fan of reverse harems, ever. And maybe I haven't read enough good ones to know for certain, and I'm just skewed in that way. But this one was very much a reverse harem between Alexis, Chiron, and Augustus. So that threesome in that way. And I actually loved it. And I think that's why I'm saying this book was as surprising as it was for me. Because those characters, how they described how different they were, and then also how much they influenced Alexis in different ways, I could truly feel that she loved both of them and loves both of them. Not putting in past tense. They are very much alive. Loves both of them. And I never thought I could feel that way about a reverse harem. Like I just never thought that was in me. So I was pleasantly surprised. Chiron is one of my favorite characters. He's someone that is so dark and ruthless, but also just sassy and childish at the same time. Like him and Alexis bicker quite a bit in this, which was just really humorous to me. And then there's Augustus, who pretty much is like so caring and so like adult for a love interest. In comparison to Chiron, he kind of balances him out. When Chiron's acting rash, Augustus is like the reason and the voice of reason. And he also provides that like calm sense of like security for Alexis. So we know how the first book ended up. She was manipulated into marrying these guys, kind of fell into a little trap. And throughout this book, she not only gives them a hard time and for doing this to her, for putting her in this situation, but they regret it too, and they want her respect. They want her to want to be with them. And throughout the journey, you kind of see their different ways about going about it, and then how she slowly but surely opens up to them and trusts them, and different sentiments as to how she got there. So their relationship and how that grew was actually very well paced for me, and I really, really enjoyed it. And at the very end, they like love each other, and it's super cute, and I love it. I love the three of them together, which again, never thought I'd say that. But Alexis is a character, she was my downfall in the first book. She was the reason I wasn't a big fan of the first book, because her character was so gullible, naive, and almost too clueless for a female main lead for me. And I'm not even saying female just to say female. Like, I'm just saying, like, a main lead, she's pretty freaking clueless, and it drove me nuts. Her snake was the voice of reason saying, "You're an idiot," half the time in the first book. Her snake is still very sassy, and I love her snake in this too. But Alexis, at the very end of that first book, finally realized who she was, who her parentage is, what she is meant to become. And then in this book, she had to just deal with what that meant for her. Like, what does she want to do with this information? And because of this, her character is frustrating for me at the beginning a little bit, but then she fully becomes her own person. And I will give full applause to that, because at the very end of this book, she really did have a clue. She was picking up on like schemes and things happening around her. And at the very end, she exposes Zeus for some mastermind deception that he was facing in front of everybody. Like, he wanted her dead. He was the reason she was alone as a child. It shows how she got the snake, and then plus how he's trying to start a war between the Spartans. Like, she exposed him good, like in front of everybody, and I never thought that character had it in them to do that. I just never thought she'd get there. So I was really, really happy to see it. And also in this book, they do a lot of references to the Greek lore. And if anyone knows the Greek lore, like, Hercules had to face 12 labors in the Greek story. And she had to do that in here too. And same with Achilles. Achilles' kryptonite was his heel, his Achilles heel. And in this one, it was severed. Like, he got permanently injured from his heel. And they tied in these kind of details that me, being a little bit of a nerd, I picked up on them right away, but they weren't obviously like the main focal point of the story. But it was still kind of nice again to see the details. And so this pleasantly surprised me. It really did. And in terms of spice and intimacy and all that stuff, they eased into it with a little bit of a tease. And then you kind of fully got a spicy scene at the end. So I really enjoyed that lead up and how that happened. There was some like underlying mystery component a little bit in this book that she figured out and exploited Zeus for. But other than that, I actually genuinely thought this book was great. Like, it was great. I have no concern with it. I don't necessarily know if they're making a third. I hope that they would, but this didn't really end off with as much of a cliffhanger as I thought it would. So it almost ends up like a little happily ever after, which is kind of weird. I guess there's one cliffhanger with Medusa going to school, but other than that, and then also she kind of tied in Alexis to go with her to school. But other than that, it's kind of it. So I don't know if they're going to do a third one. They probably will, but I'd be interested in reading it just the same. There was a big part in this where Alexis really realized the symbolism behind her protectors, what they were, what they represented, and what she represented. And for someone also who grew up in a world of not only poverty, but amongst the humans, she is the key difference between the Spartan way of life, because she actually goes out of her way to defend humans like equals. And they really experience that in this book as like a political thing that like influences the Spartan relevance to humans and vice versa. So how that carries on into the next book, I'm really interested in, because she seems to be the only person that is willing to go against the grain and the norm in comparison to everyone else. So again, she shocked me. Alexis shocked me. I'm shocked, but love the book. Let me know what you think of it. Bye for now, guys.